Welcome back. It's a brand new season of Afro Mythos, the podcast where we discuss all things African mythology, folklore, and culture.
Thank you for taking your time out to explore this amazing world with us.
We're your hosts, Adwoa and Solomon and Adwoa, whichever way you want to say it. And yes, it has been a while since our last episode. Are we going to address this? No, not really.
Jokes aside, though, it's been a busy year and we've been putting out so much content, art stuff, life stuff. And, you know, it's just been like a lot of plates spinning at the same time. So forgive us.
Yes. So quick life updates, you know, a little catch up. We are now full-time on the art and content creations. Yes, it does deserve a clap because it's been a big but absolutely necessary step.
Yeah.
So clap.
Clap for your people. And also we're on Patreon. So if you'd like to show love and support for what we do, and we'd really appreciate it if you could, sign up and we'll keep bringing you some incredible content.
So if you're familiar with our book recommendations and digital library, then you'll know we have this amazing resource called the Encyclopaedia of African Religion. And if you follow us on our socials, then you'll be familiar with our new ASMR series.
Don't worry, we haven't switched paths to eating in front of the camera.
Unless if you want it.
Not just yet. Unless if it's going to be monetized, joking. But we are talking about our series, African Spirituality, Mythology and Religion, where we go through every entry of the Encyclopedia of African Religion from A to Z. And we tell you all about it.
Exactly. Only difference here is that we have longer than, you know, the 3 minutes to go through each entry, which is
great because it's tough to fit all of that info into even 3 minutes is long. I'd say like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And then you have people say, oh, you missed this out. Or, oh, you didn't talk about this. Or you didn't go into this specific nuanced detail. This like, is micro learning.
Do you know you only got 2 minutes?
You got 2 minutes? Yeah. So now we get a bit longer to talk about it.
Yeah. So we can go through it in depth more with you. And starting with A today, we'll be exploring Abasi, the withdrawn supreme creator of the Efik, Abosom, the Akan Pantheon of intermediary spirits, Abuk, the first woman of the Dinka, and of course, Adinkra symbols, which are the Proverb-Language symbols from Ghana.
So we're thinking there's going to be around, you know, like 3 episodes in each letter. Mm-hmm. So we'll be putting out votes on Patreon so you can have a say on which concepts that you're interested in learning more about. Beginning with A from the Encyclopedia of African Religion.
So let's get into it.
About Abasi. And I got notes because
there's a lot.
There's a lot. Okay. So if you think about the Cross River estuary where southeastern Nigeria meets western Cameroon, you'll find the Efik and their Ibibio relatives. The people who wrote with Nsibidi, a set of pictorial signs, so like, you know, like the Dinka or hieroglyphics. Yeah, so it's like a set of like a script. So you find the people who did those and also gathered in Ekpe or leopard lodges. So in this society, there are Ekpe masked dancers who settled quarrels and guard trade routes. And at the top of their belief system sits Abasi, a sky-dwelling creator who made the world but keeps his distance. So this is the story of why he's withdrawn. And it's a very familiar feeling creation story. So let's get into that. Okay, so here's how the story goes. The best known Efik creation narrative begins with Abasi creating a man and a woman after he has shaped the earth and the skies and the forest. Yet he hesitates to let them leave heaven. What if they grow proud and try to rival him? His wife, Atai, also seen as the bringer of death, offers a compromise. The human pair may live on earth, but they must obey 2 rules. First, they are never to farm. Instead, an heavenly gong will call them home for every meal. Second, they are never to have children, so that humankind remains small and dependent, because a large nation of people might one day challenge the power of Abasi. So Abasi agrees to this and the couple descends. At first, they follow instructions, hurrying skyward whenever the gong sounds. On these visits, they learn cooking, music, and other skills. But the earth is wide and hunger strikes between each meal. So I'm thinking maybe they only get one meal a day or something like that.
Damn.
So in time, the woman grows tired of waiting for the gong. She sows seeds, tends a small pot, and cooks meals from her harvest. The next day, the man visited the woman in the fields and saw that she was growing her own food. He decided to help her. Before long, the man and woman fell in love and laid with one another. They did not return to the sky again. Many years went by and they had many children. When those children were old enough, they joined their parents working in the field. They all continued to learn the secrets of the earth and teach them to each other. When the man finally goes back to heaven alone, he tells Abasi his wife is unwell, and the humans try to hide their children from the sight of Abasi. But the gods saw them and realized that they had both broken the rules. He turns on Atai, blaming her for her bad advice. But anger could not undo what had happened. Atai, determined to set limits, flies to Earth and releases death and discord amongst the humans. In some tellings, she strikes down the first couple straight away. In others, she sends a vulture, the bird which is still called Atai Abasi, in Efik communities, to circle villages as a warning. From that day, every person knows hunger, hard work, and mortality. So, shocked and disappointed, Abasi retreats to the highest heavens with Atai and stops daily contact. He becomes what scholars call a deus otiosus.
Yeah?
Otiosus?
Say that one more time.
A deus otiosus.
Is that like Italian or something?
It's Latin.
Latin,
so,
sorry.
you know, like
okay.
there's like deus ex machina and there's
right,
other
yeah.
things. Yeah, so this is a withdrawn god. One who starts creation but then leaves the details to others. So the same pattern appears across Africa. So it will be the same with like Olodumare, who rules but through many lesser deities, which are called the Orishas. The same can be seen with the Akan, with Nyame.
Yeah.
He's a powerful yet distant god. And then the Bantu also tells the story of Mulungu, who climbed a spider's thread into the clouds after humans upset him with fire. So in each of this case, the gap between the creator and people opens a space for ancestors, natural spirits, and human leaders to guide everyday life rather than relying on just the creator.
Yeah, common trope, yeah.
That's a very common trope there. So Efik society has strong institutions, including the Ekpe lodges, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So Ekpe is a secret society that started around 2,000 years ago with the Ikoi people who moved from Akan, which is now southern Cameroon. So they moved to the Cross River area. So they passed the secrets on to the Efut, the Efik, and the Vibio. And these lodges spread until they included wealthy merchants, chiefs, and farmers. In pre-colonial times, Ekpe was the main authority in the region. So it made all the rules, it settled all arguments, and it carried out decisions. Members wearing leopard masks held striking ceremonies, and they showed their power and inspired fear. So it was like a form of government before, pre-colonial times. So, when everyone says, oh yeah, we brought democracy and all that kind of stuff, there's different forms of democracy there. It just wasn't the same as, Western society.
It's a tired argument. I did see a video recently of some women saying, oh yeah, we brought, what did she say?
She said we brought sanitation. We brought the people that didn't bath.
Yeah. So we bought sanitation.
We're talking about still to this day.
Yeah, to this day.
Anyway.
She said, we brought them sanitation, we brought them education, we brought them democracy. And I'm like, okay.
One of the largest universities ever built was in Timbuktu.
Yeah, hello.
Come on.
Anyways.
So the society's laws and stories are set down in Nsibidi, which is a secret system of signs and hand signals that only members can read. Symbols are drawn on house walls, sketched in sand, or acted out in dance and woven into cloth. So they're also used to sort of record contracts, court rulings, and folk tales. The best known cloth for them is the indigo-dyed Ukara, which is covered with over 50 small images, cross crocodiles for balance, stars for sky world, leopard claws for strength, and only titled men or postmenopausal women could handled the Ukara, which kept its messages hidden and powerful. Like many, I guess, African cultures and things, it sort of crosses the Atlantic for different reasons.
Yeah.
So during the 19th century, the slave trade tore many Efik and Ibibio people from their homeland. And some of them landed in Cuba, working in the docks of Havana. And they rebuilt the Ekpe system under the name Abakuá. So though languages mixed, the name of the sky god stayed the same. So it was still Abasi.
Yeah.
And he's still praised in Abakuá chants. And the brotherhood's masked dancers, the Ireme, carries the leopard sort of like magic of Ekpe, while the drums and sort of like the rhythms played in Calabar have also become part of Cuban rumba.
Right.
So in this way, Abasi's story sort of like crossed the oceans onto new soils. In the same way, the same things that sort of like happens across many of the diasporic religions, cultures, and traditional systems.
Yeah, of course.
So, in conclusion, the Efik Ibibio Abasi creation narrative is an interesting folktale. It's a critical reflection on freedom, limits, and the price of knowledge. Almost every culture has this narrative with the creator, and it's important for us to wonder why heaven or like divinity is so guarded and knowledge is always met with punishment. Abasi grants us a beautiful earth, but stops farming and childbirth, asking his children to only depend on him. Their choices to farm and multiply shows humans' disobedience and creativity. And I guess, in all honesty, these narratives always only show the woman's action.
Yeah, throughout all of them, Abasi, Abuk, as you'll hear later, Adam and Eve, like a lot of them is always the woman has done something. But I see it as the woman is the first one to take initiative rather than they've done something wrong. It's more like they want to help. I don't know how to explain
because
it. Yeah.
There is an issue. Like hunger is an issue.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not disobedience, it's sort of trying to solve a problem.
It's innovation.
Yeah. And, there's always a need to question why they weren't allowed to sort of have that kind of knowledge. And what is the purpose of these stories worldwide, that they always have this same played narrative.
Yeah.
So I always find that sort of like interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about the Abosom. So the Abosom are the spiritual forces in Akan tradition that serve as messengers and children of Nyame, the creator. So these powerful spiritual beings play a crucial role in maintaining humanity's connection to the divine. So they're not gods themselves. The Abosom are intermediaries between humanity and Nyame. So they manage various aspects of life, the universe. They guide us, they protect us, and they keep us aligned with spiritual principles. So they're kind of similar to the Yoruba Orisha or the Voodoo Loa. However, just like these spiritual beings, the Abosom aren't confined to physical forms. So they can operate through nature in things like rivers and mountains, forests, and even animals, some of them. But the natural objects are simply temporary vessels for the spirit. So they're not those objects themselves, they're just vessels in which some of them can operate in. So at their core, Abosom are pure spirit and they don't have a physical form. So you might be asking, why is indirect connection necessary? Well, as we kind of, touched on already, there are some deities, supreme deities, that don't have direct communication with humans. Mm-hmm. And Nyame is one of them. So he's seen as too great and too powerful to approach directly. And he communicates with humanity through the Abosom. They serve as his spiritual guides. They deliver messages from Nyame, and they offer protection, healing, and justice too. So the Abosom can actually be broken down into 3 different categories, each with a specific purpose. So there's Tete Abosom, and these are ancient community-level guardians that protect the land and the collective people. So they hold significant power and are often revered as national deities. And then we have Ijia Abosom. So these are family deities that are often passed down through the father's side of the lineage. Don't know why, but they are closely tied to an individual's destiny, and they help people fulfill their Nkrabia, which is divine purpose. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but it's Nkrabia. I don't know.
I have a destiny?
So there's Abuswa Abosom, And these are clan-based deities connected to specific areas or natural sites. So these spirits guard particular regions or communities, and they offer protection and guidance. So let's go into some of the more well-known specific Abosom.
Wait, sorry, just before you
Yeah.
go. So is there only Abosom that are linked to the dad's side? Is there, was the third one linked to the mom's side?
Ija Abosom.
Okay.
No. There's no one linked to the mum's side.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I need a father for some reason.
For some reason, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Don't know why. Let's say misogyny. Joking. So yeah, some well-known Abosom. There's Akan, and she's often referred to as the mother of all Abosom. Kind of reminds me of Yemoja. So she's associated with justice and wisdom, and she's the one who makes final decisions in difficult matters and protects the community. And then we have Nana Asua JB, which is a river deity known for his healing powers, and his influence even spread to the US, where African descendants connected with their energy to reclaim the spiritual roots. I feel like it's, I don't know, but I feel like Nana Asua JB is a female deity, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have to check that one.
Yeah, to be fair, I was going to say because it says Nana, but I know Nana is actually the male name for, it's one of the weekdays, no? Names.
No.
There's a lot of people like Nana, no?
Nana is a name, but Nana is a, what's the word? When both...
it's unisex.
It's a unisex.
Ah, okay.
It's a unisex thing. Because there's a lot of female and male nanas. But I don't know if it's a day name.
Yeah, things like I know lots of Ghanaians. I know
a lot
Ghanaians.
A lot of Ghanaians
Nana.
will have Nana, like Nanaya or Nana something.
Oh, okay,
It's like
so
a prefix.
Okay, cool.
But as far as I'm thinking right now in my head,
Fair. It's just crazy because I've only met guys of the name.
oh really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I know a few older women with Nana Ya or Nana.
If
Ekwa
you're a
or
Nana, let us
something.
know.
But yeah, the day names are obviously Mondays, Adwoa and Kojo, Sundays, Kwesi and Akosua, Tuesdays, Kwabna and Abna, Wednesdays, Kweku and Akwa, Thursdays, Ya and Ya, Fridays, Kofi and Ifwa, and Saturday is Kwame or Abma.
Nana does not belong there.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you know. What are you? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and then there's Nana Esi Katwa, a protector of women, children, and fertility. So she's revered by women during pregnancy and childbirth, and offers safety to mothers as well. Fun fact: I think Ketwa in Chui is like little or youngest or something like that.
Oh.
And there's Nana Adade Kofi, a warrior spirit associated with strength and metalwork. Nana Adade Kofi embodies endurance and is linked to iron, which is kind of like Ogun, the Yoruba Orisha.
Oh, both Nana and Kofi.
And there's Tagare, a forest deity who reveals truth, exposes wrongdoers, and punishes evil. Tagare is known for his moral clarity and determination to right injustices. And finally, we have Imatia, which we've actually done a painting of before.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
And they're forest spirits with unique features. So they have backwards facing feet, which is very interesting. And they're highly skilled in herbal healing and play a key role in gatekeeping the spirit realm as well.
Isn't this the one that some people said were actually dwarves?
Yeah. Some
those
people
ones?
said they were dwarves.
Yeah.
Some say that they have wings as well. So I think red and black. One of them is meant to be like the nice one, and the other color one is meant to be. I forgot which one.
We actually did an episode on fairies. Or was it angry little people?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we did cover them in more detail.
Do you go back and listen to that?
in that episode. But yeah, there's more depth to the Abosom. In Akan tradition, each day of the week is governed by a specific deity known as the Akan Bosom. So these deities are linked to the days of the week and are believed to influence the characteristics and destinies of people born on those days. So just now when I went over like the different day names, those are actually linked to different Abosoms. So for example, someone born on a Monday, like me, is believed to carry the attributes of the Abosom Adwoa, ADWO. It's kind of like Adwoa without the A at the end. Associated with peace and calmness, while those born on a Thursday, for instance, like Yao, are linked to bravery and assertiveness, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a version of like astrology and your star signs, but
yeah, but like linked to the day of the week you were born, and then the respective deity that governs that day, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it's a national thing for all Ghanaians. Or is it only Akan?
I think other tribes may have their own,
Versions,
but it's definitely mainly Akan people that have is Akan day name. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So if you go to Ghana, there'll be so many Adwoas and Kwesis and Kwames and Yals and Ikwas and all that, because we always have a given day name, which is really cool.
It is. Before I met you, I didn't know that that's what was happening. I was just like, why are so many Ghanaians named like Kofi? Or like I kept seeing names being repeated.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys don't have any other names?
So we often have like a day name and then some other names as well. So some people use their day names as their first name and some people don't. It's a cool thing. To be fair, it's the same thing. Growing up, like people be like, oh, not that it's boring, but it's like, oh, like I remember in high school when when you can Google like the meaning of your name.
Yeah.
And I was so annoyed because mine said it said Adwoa, and then it said a name given to a girl born on a Monday by unimaginative parents or some shit like that. Ooh, sorry, I saw. Or something like that.
That's not what I said.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, and it's like, there's actually so much like history and spirituality linked to the name that people probably don't know. And it's actually really cool. But yeah, I was just like, okay, fair. Just because it's a given name, like, But
anyway. How rude. What do you mean unimaginative?
Yeah, it was some random website.
Like, that's actually cultural, like, defamation.
Yeah.
How rude.
But I think it's such a cool thing that you already know that your child's going to have at least one name before they're born, which is a really cool thing. So the Akra Din Bosom is deeply ingrained to the Akan worldview, linking a person's soul, which is Kra, to the deity of their birthday, influencing their life's path and moral conduct. So Kra means soul, Din is name, and Bosom is for Abosom. So if you put it together, it's like soul, name, deity. Yeah.
Nice.
So maintaining a relationship with the Abosom is essential for spiritual well-being. This connection is nurtured through rituals, offerings, and regular communication with the divine forces. So there's actually priests called Akamfor, and these are the mediators, and they undergo years of intense initiation to become vessels of the Abosom. So they perform rituals in sacred places known as Bosom Fie, which are spiritual homes where people can seek healing, divination, and guidance. So the Abosom, as we know, serve as conduits between Nyame and humankind, and they show us that the divine isn't distant or abstract. It's present and active in the natural world around us, living in rivers, in mountains, and forests, and even in people who serve the deities, they're Komfor. So through them, we can stay connected to the divine energy that guides us, which is quite cool because you can just look at a river and think of like a specific Abosom, or like look at the trees and like, you know how some people post like a nice sunset and they're like, oh, this is proof that there's a God. It's kind of like that cute little reminder that, there's a
God
higher power somewhere.
And I guess it allows you to sort of like revere nature because you know that there's a God or a deity in it.
Yeah. So as we've explored, the Abosom are these amazing spiritual forces that can connect us to divine, and they're literally the living presence of Nyame's energy in the world. And through rituals and sacred practices, you can maintain your bond with them. So if you're curious to learn even more about the Abosom, we've created this PDF on our Patreon, which also has a chart of the day name. So you can find your day name and the deity that's linked to your day name in that PDF. And it's on our Patreon. So head over there and explore at your own pace.
Yes, we'll see you on that side.
Yeah, so the next segment is over to you again.
Oh, it's me. So I got another creation story. And it is very similar to the one that I just read. But I think it's good to sort of like understand some of the nuanced differences told in the story because it brings a new element or aspect of how people viewed creation, how they viewed, the creation of man and woman, and how they viewed what the original sin or whatever you want to call that sort of is and what it meant to them. So I'll be talking about Abuk, and if you've watched on our social media, on our other social media platforms, you would have seen a shorter version of this. This is me extending that universe, extending the context, and allowing you to see more depth and understanding of the culture. Among the Dinka of South Sudan, they speak of a creator, sometimes called Nealik, I think. So in this story, the first woman, Abuk, stands at the foundation of every human custom. Her story explains why people farm, why they suffer illness and death, and why women still draw water at daybreak. So this following myth sets it beside other first women traditions. You know, the ones that we're talking about, like Adam and Eve and Abasi, of course. According to the oral poets and the Encyclopaedia of African Religion, Neolithic fashioned a book and the first man Garang out of red clay of the Upper Nile. He placed the pair into a large pot to cure like pottery. And when the lid was lifted, they emerged whole. But a book came out a bit smaller than expected. Neolithic soaked her in a jar of water until she swelled to normal size. Pleased with his results. So the new couple received a bare ration. So it's always a ration. Like, there's not enough food.
But anyway, it's weird.
So their ration was 1 grain of millet each day. And so they were on a diet for some reason. So when hunger struck, Abuk's resourcefulness, her mind began to whirl. So she mashed the grain with water into a paste so it softened and it expanded and filled the stomach for even longer than normal. And then she saved every other kernel in a small pouch. Later, she then pressed that kernel into the soil and waited. Green shoots appeared. And so with that simple trick, Abuk became the first farmer, turning 1 grain into a renewable supply. So in Dinka memory, this is the moment agriculture enters the world. So it reminds me of the parable of the talents in the Bible. Have you heard the parable of the talents? I can explain it a bit.
Go on.
In this parable, in the parable of the talents, so a master gives 3 servants different sums of money. I think gives them the same sum of money or different sums, I can't remember, before going away. So then he goes away on a trip. So 2 of them invest the money and then sort of like make more money out of it somehow, or like did something with it to gain more returns, and then gives the master the cut or whatever and say, this is what I've done with the money. But one of them sort of like hides it out of fear. And when the master returns, he rewards the people that invested, but punishes the ones that did nothing. But the reason why this reminds me of that is because this is almost the opposite. Like, she's punished for sort of like investing or doing more with the...
Did he say she wasn't allowed to grow stuff?
That is a good point.
Like, what's the problem with that? You gave her 1 grain, she made it into many, and...
You're right.
It's not adding up.
You're not wrong, but maybe people don't like to watch people grow, you know? But yeah, the success brought new deities for Abuk, because she was also in charge with sort of like women's welfare, children, seeds, trees, and the household's water. So culturally, Dinka women still fetch river water and manage grain stores. So this myth sort of wraps these tasks into like a sacred origin. And Abuk's symbol is a small, cool-colored snake. Quiet, clever, neither aggressive nor timid. Coincidence? I think not. It's a snake. And when you look at other myths and snakes related to the first woman, it's very interesting. But yet, large duties bring large risks. And wanting to grow more food, Abuk borrowed a long-handled hoe that reached up to the heavens. So it's like a long hoe. You know what a hoe is? It's what they used to dig into the ground or whatever. But this one's very long. It reached into the heavens. And whilst digging, its shaft struck Neolithic, the god, the creator god. And shocked and offended, the creator decided humans have stretched their ambition too far.
Damn.
He sent a blue bird called Atok to sever the rope that linked the earth and sky. And with one cut, the easy ladder to heaven was gone. And with this, illness, death, and every later sorrow flowed from that breach. So, like like the Efik tale of Abasi or the Akan idea of a remote Nyame, the Dinka myth ends with the divine retreat. So after this accident, Neolithic withdraws, leaving people to rely on their own skill, their ancestors, and lesser spirits of rivers, rains, and cattle. So in South Sudan, self-management includes like rain chants, cattle blessing songs, and sort of like advice of Beni Biff, which are the masters of fishing sphere or oracles. So a book's era therefore brought human ingenuity and independence, as well as, you know, a lot of hardship, because now they actually have to do more work, and death and all of that.
Yeah, I hear it.
So, you know, the story of Abuk, you know, it's sort of like it invites comparison with some of the other first women narratives, I would say. So, you know, Eve of the Hebrew Bible, Pandora from, you know, like the Greek Pantheon and stuff, and Mbokomu among the Congolese Nabandi. So each is sort of like linked with food, curiosity, and I guess the cost of disobedience. Yet key differences do matter. So a book's act is not like willful sin, but an accident born from care. She digs to feed the family and sort of like grazes heaven by mistake.
Yeah.
So it's not like you were talking earlier, it's not like she wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
Like it was more of this mistake that happened is what then caused the upset. And this is similar with some other of the African myths, which is more like it was a consequence of practical needs rather than a moral failing, as in like, oh yeah, you know, we did something wrong. It was more, we need food sort of thing. Yeah. And I think that's interesting to me, you know, that's what upset the cosmic balance. And it reminds me of the story of Mawulisa, which I guess we can tell another day.
Yes.
But in this story, you know, the humans, after learning to survive from Mawu and Lisa, they get complacent and disrespectful to Mawu, the creator. And I remember the striking visual in the story where they started being so disrespectful that when they got dirt on their hands and stuff like that,
they would wipe it in the sky.
On Mawu. And then she felt so disrespected.
Story.
Yeah, that she flew off to the moon.
That would be so cool to paint that scene of like, I don't even know how I'd imagine it, but like people wiping their hands, and then the sky's like dirty, and then right above it is Mabu like going to the moon. Yeah, it's such a cool scene.
Concept. Yeah, maybe it's like a long flowing dress from Maui.
Yeah, and it's like the sky, and it turns like into the clouds, and it's like,
and then she's still leading. To the
moon.
Something like that. Maybe if you want us to create this painting, let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
So this frame of human dependence versus divine providence always casts agriculture as both salvation and a bad omen. So it solves hunger, yet it pushes humans beyond the safe limits of closeness to the divine. And I guess just a bit more about the Dinka. So Dinka festivals still honor a book. So women braid blue beads into their hair to sort of recall the Atok bird, and a snake-shaped iron staff may stand by grain bins during harvest prayers. In cattle songs, her name signals fertility. Pregnant cows are also praised as Abuk's daughters. And during the Sudanese Civil War, refugees carried these symbols into camps in Kenya and Uganda. Today, South Sudanese diaspora in Brisbane and Omaha stage Abuk plays for cultural nights, mixing hip-hop with traditional stories to teach children why grandmothers value the water pot and the seed gourds. So, in conclusion, Abuk's narrative is short, but it's densely packed, I would say. You know, you got the clay shaped by a patient god, you know, hunger answered with human wit, and an accidental blow that changes the cosmic order, and a legacy of work that still falls mainly to women. Yeah. So she's not, in the culture, she's not blamed as a temptress, but rather remembered as a mother inventor whose slip carried a price everyone now shares. So by weaving responsibility, creativity, and unintended harm into one thread, this Dinka myth keeps its sort of like relevance. In placing a single grain into the soil, Abuk planted a question we still ask: how much is enough, and who gets to decide? And I guess another question that I always think of is it like our tools, or is the technology what's keeping us away from God technically? Because I guess with that is the new tool, like technology with the long-handled hoe that then keeps God away. So yeah.
But my question throughout all these stories is, why would omniscient? Not omniscient.
All-knowing.
What's the all-loving one? What's the all-loving word?
All-loving.
Oh, I forgot.
I don't know.
Yeah, is that one? Anyway, why would an all-loving God not want their people to innovate themselves in terms of, you gave them a grain, clearly wasn't enough, you weren't giving them more, so they made more for themselves.
Yeah, I guess
it's an interesting question.
I always have to think about, maybe there's a bigger moral of why they created the stories. Maybe it's to teach children not to ask for more in case if they don't know why.
Exactly.
Maybe, in that culture at a time, there was a famine or a famine where they didn't have much food.
Yeah.
So they had to teach their children, don't disobey the rations, or else blah, blah, blah might happen. I don't know. Maybe there's a greater lesson in these things rather than it just being a creator, because normally the creator is just a tool to explain the world.
Yeah.
But never know. I wasn't there. Unless if I'm Doctor Who, I'll definitely go there in a heartbeat and find out. But yeah, that's all for me.
Right, so I'm going to be speaking about Adinkra symbols, which, are arguably one of the most iconic African symbols in the continent.
I agree.
Right next to hieroglyphics. I feel like I feel like hieroglyphics maybe more just because it's been more westernized. And like you can see it in museums and all that. But Adinkra symbols, 100%, I feel like when people look at them, they're like, oh, I've seen that somewhere before. But you might not know what it is.
They've become a sign of like Pan-African.
That as well, especially Sankofa.
Yeah.
They love that one.
They love it up.
And I get it. I do. So Adinkra symbols originate from the German people of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. So these symbols have since traveled far and wide and have become a powerful representation of African heritage all over the world. So what exactly are Adinkra symbols? At their core, they're not just pretty symbols. You might look at it and be like, oh, that's nice. But there is definitely a deeper meaning to them. They represent different concepts, aphorisms, proverbs, and they're essentially messages that have been passed down through generations. So they capture moral ideas, cultural truths, and also spiritual principles. So in a way, they're kind of like a visual language. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like, when people say a picture tells 1,000 words, these literally tell 1,000 words and more.
Yeah.
So let's get into where they come from, because there's a lot of discourse. So let's talk about it. So the most widely accepted story of where Adinkra symbols come from traces the name Adinkra back to Nana Kofi Adinkra. And he was a 19th century king of the German people. And legend has it that King Adinkra challenged the Asante kingdom's power by creating a replica of the golden stool known as Sika Dua. And Asante people don't play with the golden stool.
Don't do
A lot
that.
of people have tried to take it, namely the British, but they don't play with that. Mm-hmm. So King Jaiman really liked the golden stool. So you know what? Instead of taking it, he created a replica, which I feel like it's not the worst thing. He saw what he liked and he was
said,
like,
I challenge you to a duel. How dare you? How dare you?
He challenged the power, because I think the Asante saw it as a challenge, because like, you're a king and you're creating, the right replica of like my stool. They kind of saw it as a confrontation. Yeah. I think that's what it was, which is ironic, which, we'll come back to later. This act sparks the Asante-German War, and the Asante won the battle, but instead of erasing the German culture, they absorbed it, and they took the intricate symbols on King Adinkra's stool. So you know how I said King Adinkra replicated the Asante King's, Asante Hene's stool? Mm-hmm. He added his own little flair to it by adding Adinkra symbols. Oh. And then the Asante Hene saw this after they won the war and was like, I like these symbols. we're going to take them.
He said, this is nice.
Yeah, he said Uno reverse because what started the war? The fact that he liked the stool and made his own. And now he likes the Dinka symbols on King Jamin's stool. And, you know.
I can just imagine it happening. He's like, destroy that. And he comes like, wait a minute.
Literally.
This is nice.
So the Asante Hene had his craftsmen recreate the symbols, and now Adinkra has become a part of the broader Akan tradition, which is really cool. I did see, we did a little 2-minute video on this on socials, and someone commented saying it's kind of interesting how there was like a little civil war, and instead of completely eradicating the German culture, they decided to bring it into their own and, keep it going, which is really cool because we've seen stuff happen, where it's through colonialism or other wars, where they completely try and eradicate any history to do with...
They destroy every library, they burn down things, almost like you didn't have your history there.
Yeah.
But this is different. It's like they've incorporated it into the culture.
Yeah.
It's almost like cultural syncretism.
Yeah, if that's a word. Have you just coined that? Or is that a
Why
thing?
not? Why not? Professor Solomon. Adeche.
So that's one of the most widely accepted stories about the origin of Adinkra symbols. Adinkra symbols are a way of speaking, of honoring and conveying deep messages. So the word Adinkra itself actually combines two parts. So D meaning to make use of, and Nkra meaning message. D also means to eat and treat as well. But, different words, etymology have different meanings. So Adinkra literally means to make use of a message. But it also carries another meaning, which also means to leave one another or to say goodbye. So this is why Adinkra symbols were originally used on mourning cloths worn during funerals. So they were symbolic messages sent to the spirit of the deceased, guiding them through their journey to the afterlife, which is quite nice. So, yeah.
Apparently, we have to say that this is speculation and this is just the most prevalent school of thought right now.
Yeah.
Apparently.
We have to have that little disclaimer. But if there's anything else, just let us know. Each symbol has its own unique message. Some convey ideas about morality and others about strength. There's others about love and humility, relationships between humanity. The most popular symbol is Jinyame, which is like... How do you describe Jinyame for people who are just listening?
It goes like that, then it comes back, then it goes zigzaggy, then it goes the opposite way. Okay, I know
it's very symmetrical.
It's like the yin-yang symbol with a zigzag in the middle.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Jinyame means except for God, which expresses the omnipotence of the divine. Speaking about that, a lot of people do say Adinkra symbols kind of look like Chinese or Japanese characters.
And it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I get it too.
I get it.
There's Sankofa, which is a symbol of a bird kind of reaching back and grabbing an egg.
It's like the Nando's bird.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I just always have that visual.
Okay, I've never... So that's funny. Okay, I need to look at Nando's again.
Let me see.
Although we've had Nando's twice this week, actually. Yeah, that's funny. I want to see that. But Sankofa means return and get it, which encourages us to learn from the past to move forward.
It's not like
the Nando's bird.
It's not like the Nando's bird.
Forget what he said, guys. It's not like the Nando's bird. There's Dweninum, which is ram's horn. So it's kind of like spirally things. They kind of like a bird's eye view of ram's horns, actually. And they symbolize strength combined with humility. There's Adinka Hene, which is like circles. And that's the chief symbol of leadership, authority, and charisma.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was just lost in your eyes.
Oh, gosh. And there's Asasiye Duru, which is like a heart and an upside down heart. Like underneath it.
Okay, yes, Asasiye Duru.
Yeah, does that make sense?
It's a heart. Over it is an upside down heart.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, did I say underneath?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a heart and then an upside down heart on top of it.
Yeah.
Not underneath.
It's a heart wearing a hat. Heart as a hat.
Upside down.
Love it.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Anyway, Asati Yaduru means the earth has weight, which reminds us of the earth's vital role in sustaining life, and it's linked to the deity Asaseya, which is quite cute. I like that. So Adinkra symbols can be worn, they can be printed or placed in spaces as visual reminders of our shared values and cultural wisdom. You'll see them a lot if you go to Ghana, on buildings, on clothes, on jewelry. I've got an Adinkra symbol ring here, which is Jinyame.
Jinyame.
So they do carry the weight of generations of teaching, which I really love because it's kind of like a language that can never die. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Can you innovate them?
I'm sure you can. A lot of people use them for logos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, at what point can you start making new ones?
See, that's what I don't know, because I know that the government, the Ghanaian government right now are going through the process of trying to copyright Adinkra symbols because people have just been using them left, right, and center. And I feel like the Ghanaians need to get paid for that. You know, if you're going to use it, they need to get some money. It's only right. So I don't know about creating new ones. I'm sure you can if you want to add one on top of the other, you know, create your own story, because they are, at the end of the day, different phrases and aphorisms. So I feel like you can put some together to make a complete sentence, which is quite cool. So Dinka symbols also play a big role in key life events. So in Akan communities, they're used in different rituals during birth, naming ceremonies, marriage, and each symbol represents blessings, protection, and fulfillment of one's divine destiny. So for example, there's the Iban symbol, which is like a diamond kind of shape. And it represents safety and security.
I don't remember this one.
Really? Type it. It's the one I remember the most because a lot of Adinkra symbols are very curved and like, you know...
Eban?
Yeah, EBAN. Because a lot of Adinkra symbols are really like curved and, you know, smooth. But this one is very sharp. And that's why I remember it. Yeah, Iban, yeah. Diamond. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fair.
And that represents safety and security. And it's often seen in marriage ceremonies to invoke protection for newlyweds. You'll see it a lot on the kente as well, that people wear. And similarly, there's the duafe, which is kind of like a comb. This is really testing my knowledge because I don't have any of these symbols like on my iPad. So I'm just trying to remember them. And I think this one is like a comb.
Okay.
So that symbolizes beauty, cleanliness, and femininity, and it's closely associated with women's health and wellness. I've seen this on a logo somewhere recently, but I can't remember where. But anyway, that's a really cute symbol. So there's also a connection between Adinkra symbols and the Akan concept of Nkrabia, which refers to one's divine purpose or destiny. So many symbols like, you know, Sankofa, and stuff like that guide us in fulfilling our Nkrabia, which is destiny. This ties into the Akan philosophy of cyclical time, where life is a continuous loop of learning and growing, which I like. And interestingly, some Adinkra symbols are also used in schools to teach core values like discipline, respect, and hard work. For instance, the symbol Fawade symbolizes freedom and independence and is used during lessons about self-discipline and integrity. And also a lot of schools in Ghana have them as their school emblem, logo.
Yeah.
That was called? Yeah. Which is nice. So now let's talk about Adinkra cloth, which is called Ntoma. So there's a fascinating process behind it. Traditional cloths are made using natural dyes extracted from tree bark, like the badi tree, which gives this really nice, rich indigo color. What are you going to say?
The badi tree.
So these dyes...
I want to see this tree.
Oh my gosh. It reminds me of like, you know when in these stories, everyone's always turned into a tree?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They don't turn a baddie into a tree.
If I was turned into a tree, I'd be the baddie tree.
Yep. Just go there, you just see Adwoa like, oh well.
These dyes are then used to stamp the symbols onto the cloth. So it's really cool. In Accra, there's this workshop that you can... make your own like cloth with stamping the symbols, which I really want to do next time we're in Ghana because it's really cool. The symbols are thought to imbue the cloth with energy, and messages on the symbols make it a dynamic representation of life's lessons and spiritual connections. So that goes back to like, you know, when they were using it on funeral cloths, it kind of brings the energy onto the cloth. So when you're wearing it at someone's funeral, you're kind of sending them a message and guiding them towards Nyame, which is quite beautiful. Yeah.
I'd love to see this in an anime or in a superhero type thing where, you know, the Dinka symbol glows and it gives them the power related to... Remember when we had this, the thought of Adinka warriors?
Yeah.
Oh, see, if you're a comic writer or a...
animator
or you know, you work for Netflix or any of these other platforms and you want us to pitch a show, Adinka warriors.
Yeah, each symbol... is like related to a specific superhero.
Yeah.
And that would be so cool.
It would be so cool.
You heard it here first. Pata singing it, whatever the word is singing in it. Yeah.
Adeche, Adinkra warriors.
So next time you see an Adinkra symbol, whether it's on clothing, on furniture, on jewelry, or even on architecture, take a moment to think about the powerful message it carries. If you don't know what it is, maybe take a picture of it, and you can do Google image search these days and kind of find out what it means, because they literally are everywhere. Even in the UK, there's a train station not so far. What's the train station?
Is it near Camberwell? No, it's not Camberwell.
It's near Camberwell. Denmark Hill.
Possibly.
Yeah, something like that. They have a really nice Adinkra symbol sculpture.
At the train station. Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing it. It was nice.
Yeah. Maybe next time you see one, take a moment to like think about what it means and why it's on that building, because it's often on that building for a reason. Sorry, I was just gonna say, just want to plug a few shops that also do Adinkra related stuff. Oh yeah, of course. So why not? Adinkra Charms. Adinkra Charms, yeah, they do amazing jewelry. Yeah. Adinkra symbol
Hopefully
jewelry.
They send us one soon, because I remember we had one before and we had to give it away as part of the giveaway, and we cried. The tears crowed.
I'm so sorry, guys. I know we just hit 300k followers on Instagram, but we're not going to be doing a giveaway.
No.
I'm so sorry.
That's staying on our wrists.
We'll do a giveaway at 500k. There we go.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Or maybe 10k on YouTube. How about
even better. We'll do a beautiful giveaway just for YouTube subscribers. Yeah. There's also Adinkra. So they do really lovely clothing, tailoring. So they do scrunchies, they do socks, they do jackets that the lining inside is like Adinkra. It's
like luxury fashion, luxury tailoring.
It's so nice.
Symbols in a very understated way.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do I know any other one? No, I think
there's one I discovered just the other day. Omi Woods, OMI Woods, and they do really lovely Adinkra necklaces. There's the Asasi Aduru one that I really want.
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah.
That is nice. That is very nice.
Yeah, so, that's a cute little shout out to them.
There's also this other one that does Adinkra badges. I can't remember their names.
Oh, badges?
Adinkra badges, yeah.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's like pins, yeah.
Whoa.
Like metal. It's very nice.
That's cool. And also in our house, we have these really cool Adinkra masks, African masks with Adinkra symbols on them that we got from the art center in Ghana. And I really want to get some more.
Definitely.
My brother's in Ghana right now, so I might just ask him.
And we'll be amiss if we don't plug in our book.
Oh my God, yeah, symbols. That's actually what I was going to do next. But yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, Adinkra Symbols book. It has a whole lot of Adinkra symbols with their meanings and a proverb linked to them as well.
How to pronounce them as well, and also our own original illustrations provided next to them so you can see what it looks like.
And it's a beautiful book that fits nicely on a coffee table.
Yeah.
And you can use it to inspire your next tattoo. Or just when you want to just free flow draw things.
Yeah, because they are very inspirational symbols. And we've also kind of grouped them into different chapters to do with their themes. So whether it's to do with divinity or love or, anything, we've kind of grouped them so it's easier to find which one you want to get.
Exactly.
So check out our book. Our Patreon subscribers do get 15% off, which is a discount we don't give anywhere else. So
you're not gonna find a deal like this anywhere else.
You're gonna find a deal like that.
You're gonna have to come home to Patreon. Run us that money. Support us.
Support us. We told you we do this full time now.
$1 a day.
What can you get for $1 these days? £1. You can't even get a chocolate bar.
Like
for that price anymore.
You can't get a Freddo. You can't get,
Can't get milk for £1 anymore, can you?
Do you even know the price of milk?
Like, you can just about get a bottle of sparkling water for £1. And we're offering you a whole range of...
You're talking about sparkling water.
We're on our sparkling water flex now.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's such a hack if you're like a really fizzy drink or juice drinker. Get some sparkling water, cut out some lemons, put it in there. You honestly, if you want a bit of agave, you can trick yourself that you're having a really nice lemonade, but it's really just sparkling water. And honestly, ever since we started that, we've barely been drinking juice. If any, we've not even been drinking juice.
We haven't.
Apart from our Eurovision party. But yeah. Wow. Anyway, that was it actually.
Okay, right.
I'm done with Adinkra symbols. I love Adinkra symbols. It makes me proud to be from Ghana and more specifically
Ashanti. I'm proud to be a Ghanaian.
God bless our homeland, Ghana, to make our nation great and strong.
Okay. We'll throw a boiled egg party.
You guys are always mocking our boiled egg when we're the ones with our protein levels up. So, you can mock it till the cows come home.
A fat ass. Both men and women. Taking like 6 eggs a day.
Anyway.
Talking about, how did you know I'm Ghanaian?
Wow. That is crazy work.
Okay.
That is a wrap for today's episode. It's good to be back. So each of the stories that we explored today, Abasi, Abosom, Abuk, Adinkra, they all tell us something profound about how people navigated the world around them, whether it's through creativity or spirituality or even wisdom.
What's amazing is that these are all living legacies that continue to shape the way these communities think, act, and connect with one another today. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring you more exciting content. So share it, WhatsApp on, I've heard people share bare things on WhatsApp now.
Yeah, apparently that's the place to share. So, share it on WhatsApp.
Share it on WhatsApp, share it on Insta, share it on
LinkedIn,
TikTok, LinkedIn, share it with a letter, share it with a bird, share it on your rooftop. Afro Mythos, my favorite podcast, is back.
It's back, and we are back, and we're so sorry for taking such a long break, but life happens.
Yeah, and just know that this season is going to be an extended season.
Yes.
You're going to get A to Z.
Do you know how many letters that is? 26, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And if we're doing 3 episodes for each letter,
26
just
times
think
3.
about the possibilities. Yeah. So this is a journey that you don't want to miss. And if you want to show your support, give us that 5 stars, run those 5 stars. It just makes us know that you want this as much as we do. And also, are you still thinking about this 26?
I'm trying to do 26 times 3. Is that 60? Wait.
Do 20 times 3 first. So that's 60. Then do 6 times 3, which would be
9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21. I can't do 18. So what's 18 and what?
18 and 60.
78. I was right. I said 78, right?
I don't know.
78.
Run the tape. Just makes us know that you want. Just makes us know that you. Just makes us know that you.
I don't like the way you did that.
What?
20. Do 20 times 3 first and then.
Wait, why don't you like that? Clean numbers.
Huh?
You do clean numbers.
No, I like, when you do 26 and 3 and you go 3 times 2.
Can you do that 6. In your head?
That's what I was doing in my head.
And that's not clean.
Okay.
Like if you want to do something quickly, do the whole numbers that you know that are easy to work with.
So I was doing 3 times 2 is 6. And then I was going to do, was it 26? Yeah, and then 3 times 6 is 18. That's the 8. And then 6 plus 1 is 7, 78.
If it works for you. If you like it, I love it. I just would never do that in my life.
Anyway, it's been such a joy to share these concepts with you, and there's so much more to uncover. We've got 2 more episodes to go with the segment A in our A to Z ASMR series, and we want you, yes you, to help us decide what comes next. So make sure you head over to our Patreon and cast your vote on which stories you want us to dive into in more detail on the podcast.
And if you want to dive deeper into some of these concepts that we've spoken about in this episode, we've made PDF guides on these topics on our Patreon. So you'd want to see them. They're actually so nice. They're nice and visual. They're clean to see. They go into depth. They have resources. Like, just think about it. After you've heard this, you've sort of like gone through this PDF, you've learnt it, you're going to be edumacated. And by the time that you've gone through the A to the Z,
you'll know everything.
You'll
know more than us
about African mythology.
Yeah, you'll be experts. Like,
you won't know
that's amazing.
You will not know about us. Did you know that the traits of a teacher or a professor, the only requirement that you need to know is you need to be one lesson more than your students. You need to know one more thing than your students and your professor. Or not professor, your teacher.
So we are teachers.
Yeah, and we'll always be your teacher because we'll always know one more thing than you. One episode ahead of you.
Crying. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, thank you for taking the time to explore this wonderful world with
African mythology.
us.
With us.
Yes.
Your host.
Adwoa Solomon.
Solomon and Adwoa, whichever way you want to say it.
Adeche Tellier, and we'll catch you on the next episode, which will come, we promise. Yeah.
Bye. Good night.
Not family, guys.